Oh, good morning. Today's Tuesday, December 20th, 2022. The time is 3:31 a.m. Dream journal. At least while it's still fresh. I was gonna go back to sleep, but there was some really cool parts in the dream, and so in the beginning, what I remember is like we were at this park, right? And this park was really cool, right? There was some other stuff happening, but I don't really remember, but it was really cool because this was like a swimming park, right? But it was like in the middle of this downtown area. And there was this huge like tree, right? And not real big, like oak looking. This was just one that like slanted sideways, but when I say big, I mean it went all the way up to the clouds, where kids were there climbing on it, but like floating around it right at the same time. And you could climb it, but there was like this weird like shifting gravity, right? It was like a shifting gravity when you were around the tree, where people were kind of like air surfing around it, right, in a space, to kind of explain. And it's not like what they were doing, but it's what it looked like to me, right? Like they were like, you could like float around it because of the gravity that this tree pulled in. And this tree was like all these different colors, like rainbow colors. Like it gave off this energy, right? Like this, there, it's aura or something. And it shifted, it shifted the gravity. And you could see kids climbing up it, like if they were barely holding on. And because this tree was off the ground, this tree wasn't in planted, it wasn't rooted in the earth. It was, like I said, gravity had, there was something, it was something with gravity, that it wasn't touching the ground, but it was close to the ground, but you could climb on it. But when you got on it, it was like space. Thank you, spirit. It was like spacewalk, right? It was like spacewalk. And there was this big old group of kids. And I don't know if I was older, right? Because it's like when I go into the dreams consciously, I still feel who I am right here, right? In wake moments, right? Thank you, spirit. And then when I'm in the dream, you know, I don't know what I am in the dream, right? I don't know if I'm a boy, a girl, a man, a woman, a child, So I always feel like if I'm talking to somebody, I feel like I'm too old for them or too young for them, or, some situation, right? And there was this group of young kids, and that was their life, was to swim. Like, okay, so where the tree was, but around the area in the downtown, that was like swimming was done right there, right? There was like this water source, like pool, but it felt it didn't feel man-made. It looked really nice, but it didn't feel man-made. It felt natural. It felt like that's just the way it was right there. That was just the energy, right? Was the water was right there, close to this tree, this floating tree, right? And it wasn't floated in different places. It like stayed in that one same place. And there was this group of kids, and they were kind of like loners, right, out in the streets or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And the city, I couldn't really explain to you. It looked like a regular city. There was some nice areas, and then there was some not nice areas. It just looked like a city. There was nothing fancy about it besides this huge water source in the middle that people would swim at, and this floating tree, right? This ungravitized tree, because I just feel like if gravity would have pulled it down, gravity wasn't working in that space or around that tree, right? That just wasn't the energy. And so these little boys, right, I see the reason why I was older, because I remember having like a baby or a young kid with me, right? And could have been a sister, brother, but it felt like son or daughter, right? And these kids, I would sit there and try to talk to them and just, ask how they were doing and check on them. And, I worried about them. I think I cared for one of them, but like cared, like I liked one of them. But like I said, I don't remember my age, right? And it didn't feel wrong to care about them. So I could have been a lot younger than what I thought. They could have been older, right? And so they were like out, like trying to find somewhere better for them. But in a space, not realizing where they were was beautiful, right? Where they was at, there was source there for them. Source was healing them. Source was feeding them. It's like they weren't lost or without, they weren't without anything. And I remember one point in the dream, we're driving around the city and I'm trying to show somebody, I'm like, oh my gosh, have you seen the tree? No, what tree? I said, oh my gosh, I have to take you to downtown. I was just like, you have not seen the tree. I said, look, you can see it from right here, because anywhere out in the city, you could see the tree. You can see people floating around this tree, right? And she goes, well, I'm like, look right there. And when she looks, she's like, oh my gosh, like that's so amazing, right? Because it was beautiful to watch, to witness, right? It was gorgeous. And she was like, oh my God, like I want to see it closer. I'm like, you want to get closer? Like, let's go to downtown. But I don't know. I think it was getting cold, because I'm like, usually I don't go to the pool unless it's warmer. We don't go downtown unless it's warm out, because it's too cold to get in the water. But I guess the water was fun. So we went down there, and I went to go show her that little young guy that I kind of cared for, and I could have cared for him like a big sister, I don't, because I didn't ever try to mess with them, but it was like when I would stay down there, I was like in this water tank type thing, like this water bubble thing where I would live, and I don't know if I lived there or if I was just staying there. But I could get in the water during the day, so it would go. And we could have been amphibian, we could have been some kind of sea animals or sea humanoids, right? Something like that. It's possible, right? Our bodies didn't look much different than the way they look now, right? It's felt the same. So then the little boy, the one that was like trying to leave to go find something better, I asked him, I said, well, when you lived here since you lived here all this time, what did you eat? What did you do to survive? How did you survive all this whole time if you didn't have anybody and you were just kind of running the streets? How did you survive? And he had all these little packets of this stuff. And he's like, oh, I used to eat spores. I used to eat this, like all these nutrient stuff, all this like stuff that like plants and, small animals feed off of. And, he's dumping them down these little pockets that are right there by my window, and they're growing. You know what I'm saying? Like as soon as he drops it, you start getting life and growth, right? And I was like, oh, wow. I'm like, so if you had all these nutrients, why are you wanting to leave? I thought you were starving. I thought you couldn't eat. That was my thoughts on it first was, they don't have enough food to eat, so maybe that's why he wants to leave. And then he sat back and was like, you know what? I never thought about it. I never thought about like how much blessings, thank you, Spirit, how much blessings he already had there, and how Spirit was already blessing him. And he didn't see it because he was thinking he was going to find something better somewhere else, right? In the space, sometimes we do that. It's like when I went to Arkansas, I thought there was going to be something better, and I went for a reason, right? Anything that happens for us, or any experience that we go through, it's all for a reason. I was doing a lot of healing at that time, just like I always am, right? I'm always doing so much healing. But at that time I was, I was moving some energy out the way. And because I came back different. I came back a little bit different. It wasn't exactly the same, but I experienced some things there that I needed to experience, right? It was kind of showing me that even in such an amazing, beautiful, high vibrational place, it can also be super dark. It was showing me balance there. It was showing me the dark and the light there, right? Because I experienced it all there. And sometimes how we feel like there's something else out there somewhere else for us, right? And then we leave, and then it's like it wasn't there, it was at home the whole time, type situation. And which really, really makes a lot of sense. Sometimes we tend to not see how much we are blessed in certain spaces. And me, like, I'm so aware, like, I see it. I see where I'm blessed. I see when it's like my refrigerator's full. I'm like, thank you, spirit, abundance. For me, that's a blessing. You know what I'm saying? I'm grateful, for anything like that. Or just having my cats here with me. I'm blessed with my cats. You know what I'm saying? Just having all my clothes washed. That's a blessing. Having my tree sitting right here next to me. That was a blessing because that was a gift that was given to me. And it came with everything I needed. I didn't need anything for it. That was a blessing because if not, I wouldn't have had a tree. And, just seeing these things sometimes, and sometimes we don't realize how much we are blessed, and we're always looking for something out. Thank you, spirit, something outside of ourselves to validate those blessings. But everything, all the validation's internal, everything's inside for us, and this is where we come to find that understanding. Like the guy didn't realize he's eating nothing but nutrients. He's eating nothing but source. And he has all these packets of, oh, I used to eat this and this, and he's growing them for me right in front of me. And I'm like, that's a gift. He has a green thumb, and they were growing extra fast. I don't know if this was just the energy there where I was at, where everything would grow super fast. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, that's beautiful. That's amazing. That's so powerful. That's powerful of you to create this, and to show me. And I could eat it, and yeah, it was just real beautiful. And just sometimes so when I was in Arkansas, I left to go try to find something better for myself. And what I realized is, like, when I came back home, I went out to Galveston and I did some cleansing out in Galveston. And spirits was like, when you were a little girl, this was your safe, happy place. Like, you created portals here, beautiful portals, right? Beautiful energy here when you were a little girl. This was your happy place, was the water, this is where you loved to be at. And you went all the way out there to find something that was already here at home. Like, I went all the way out there to go try to find something better because I felt like there was something better there for me, or something was calling me there. It was crazy because spirit was just like, go where the two waters meet. So I was thinking two different bodies of water, right? It could have been like where the Gulf meets the Atlantic. It could have been where the Gulf meets the Pacific. It could have been where two rivers meet each other. So I'm looking for this place, two bodies of water touching and connecting, or maybe, a river flowing out into the ocean. And where that, I was looking for all these different places, right? Everywhere. And I found, a bunch of spots. And so when I finally came back home, the first thing I did was I went to Galveston. I wanted to go see the water, right? Because that was just a big thing for me. It's always been a big thing. So I go to the water and I'm sitting out there in the sand, and I'm sitting there with spirit. It's nighttime, so there's not a lot of people, not a lot of distractions. And the waves start coming in, right? And spirit's like, pay attention to the waves. Pay attention to the perfect balance of giving and receiving, how the wave gives itself and then balances out by pulling back itself, right? In a space. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and I see two waves come in and meet. And I'm looking, and it rung for me. Spirit goes, see, this is where the water meets. When two waves come together, they meet each other, and then they create another wave, right? So this was what Spirit was wanting me to see. Spirit's like, you went 2 states away to find something that was right here in your own backyard, right? That was right here in Galveston, which is an hour away, right? Which is home, you know, Houston, Galveston, this is home, right? And Spirit's like, you drove all that way to go look for something that was already right here. Like everything you need is right here. You know what I'm saying? Everything you need is home, you know? And home is where the heart is. Home is where you make it, right? Because I feel like I could venture off and go anywhere, right? Because I've done it already, you know? But it's like, you know, everything I was looking for was already right here. You know, I was out looking like I need to go adventure and find it somewhere, speed, you know, I needed to go do this and that. And it's like, no, everything was already right here. There was no need to go search for this magical place. I had already created a magical place right here in my own backyard, right? In a space, right? And I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Yeah, that tree was really, it was really amazing. It was really beautiful to see, and to see every people like up in the clouds hanging on to the gravity of this tree. It was really beautiful, right? Like tree of life, right? In a space, what it felt like. And it was all these rainbow colors. It was really pretty. Like the bark, the leaves, everything was in rainbow colors, and not like tie-dye, but it was just kind of like if it was colors flowing through it, you know, kind of like the way blood, the circulation of the blood in the body, but this tree, all these rainbow colors, and it was flowing. It was an energy. It was definitely an energy. And yeah, I'm gonna get back to sleep, and yeah, peace.